Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Josh Eddy with the California Department of Food and Agriculture and kind of your WUSATA manager kind of for this activity. We are so happy to be joined today with some great speakers. Today we have with us Ben Rao from the U.S. Embassy in Rabat in Morocco, who will be able to provide kind of a nice market overview for us. We're also joined by Mohammed, who works in the embassy as well and is kind of the boots on the ground to help kind of U.S. agricultural exporters kind of succeed in the market. And we also have Richard Zerba with us from Zircom International, who is our WUSATA in-market contractor for this activity. We are so very excited about the market potential that we have in Morocco. As you may be aware, exports to Morocco in 2024, we're up 54% from the previous year at 212 million for kind of consumer-oriented products from the Western United States. So there's definitely strong potential for U.S. And Western U.S. kind of agricultural products. Some of the leading exports to the region include tree nuts, dairy, fresh vegetables, and processed fruit. So it's very strong potential in those areas. And we also, as my lights go out on me, have strong interest in kind of a consumer-oriented products such as, prunes, raisins, cranberries, canned fruits and vegetables, and other consumer-oriented products that Ben and Mohammed will be able to talk about in detail in terms of how we can really, as WUSATA, kind of expand our presence in the market. We are so very fortunate to be able to kind of engage in this activity through funding through the USDA Foreign Agricultural Service Market Access Program and the Regional Agricultural Promotion Program. What's interesting about Morocco is that it's kind of a new market, it's the new opportunity, and this funding is providing us that kind of leverage to kind of introduce U.S. agricultural products to that market. For WUSATA, Africa, Morocco is our leading kind of export destination in Morocco. It's a vital kind of transshipment point, key manufacturing area for Northern Africa. And Morocco as a whole even surpasses, agricultural exports from the WUSATA region to Peru, to Chile and France and other markets. So some other kind of key markets that you think of, these are important export destinations. Morocco in Africa is kind of that growing potential. And just as we've seen with that 54% growth rate from the previous year, there is kind of that strong potential for continued growth and continued opportunity. So investing in this market, trying to expand our market presence and our exposure and business connections, I think is really critical to help move the needle. So we definitely like to get started kind of with this nice overview, and we'd like to have this be a very kind of lively discussion between all of the participants. So please feel free when the Q&A session becomes available to avail yourselves of the experts that are present here today. So first off, I'd like to maybe start with some introductions. So Ben, if you'd like to introduce yourself and the team, and then we'll turn to Richard.
Sure. Great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Josh. My name is Ben Rao. I'm the agricultural attaché. I'm based in Rabat, Morocco. We have a regional office, so we cover Morocco. We also have a team in Tunisia. I'll talk about that in a minute. We don't have anybody on the ground, and there's not an embassy open, but we also do cover Libya. So, if you got questions about Libya or Tunisia, you can feel free to reach out to our office as well. Happy to be joined by my colleague, Mohammed Fardowsi. I'll let him introduce himself, but he's our agricultural specialist here at the embassy in Morocco.
Thank you, Ben. Hello, everyone. As Ben mentioned, I'm Mohammed Fardowsi, agriculture specialist here in Morocco. I've been working with the FAS 10 years now, and with a lot of industry from almonds and walnut and green feed. So I am so happy to be here and looking forward to work with you all.
Hi, everybody. It's Richard here. Today I'm in Malawi. And no matter how much I wave my hands around, I'm not going to be able to turn the lights any brighter. We are excited to be working with you right across Africa, from Morocco down to Durban and Cape Town up to Cairo. So we've got people in 18 countries of Africa to help you out. And we're looking forward to participating in the mission as your support base, and also to discussing the market this evening.
Perfect. Thank you,
this
Richard.
morning where you are. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And again, this as a reminder, this webinar on the Morocco market is really kind of an informational session for an upcoming outbound trade mission that WUSATA is hosting to Morocco May 18th to the 23rd. And so we're hopeful that those of you that are interested in the market will be able to join us. Participation fee is $750, which is actually now fund match eligible. So thank you, WUSATA team, for making that the participation fee accessible for the fund match program. And it'll be a great opportunity to connect with boots on the ground. So without any further ado, I'd like to pivot over to Ben for a presentation.
All right, thank you. Let me pull it up here. Are you all able to see this presentation? All right, great. Well, thank you, Josh. Thank you for the invitation to talk to you all. I think that was a great sort of scene setter for Morocco. I think you hit a lot of the points that we're going to talk about here. So yeah, we'd love to host you all, see you all when WUSATA comes out here on the trade mission. So hopefully this presentation will give you a sense of what you could expect, and hopefully all the opportunities that are there, but also we'll talk a little bit about some of the challenges too. So, but before I get into Morocco, I do want to recognize that maybe not everybody knows what the Foreign Agricultural Service is and what we do. So so we work with the Foreign Agricultural Service as part of USDA. We basically work to improve foreign market access, build new markets, and improve the competitive position of U.S. agriculture in the global marketplace. And this is our team. You can see you got Mohammed there. So we got 3 folks in Morocco. Nabil and Rashida are based in Tunisia. And like I said, we don't have anybody. There's not an embassy in Libya right now, but we do have contacts there that we can kind of help you out with. And so some of the things that we offer exporters would be working with agricultural cooperators like WUSATA, support for marketing activities such as this upcoming trade mission that you all have. We support the various cooperator trainings and market development activities. We provide contacts. So we maintain a database of industry contacts and government contacts that we can work with you on. We take buyers to trade shows. Mohammed was just in Gulf Foods about 2 weeks ago. We met with a lot of, I know California Almonds was very present there, a lot of companies from the West Coast. And we brought Moroccan buyers to that show. We had a trade mission here in Casablanca last year. This was a USDA sponsored trade mission. Very excited about it. It generated about $9.3 million of estimated sales. We assist with stuck shipments, and this is where Mohammed is really critical. If you're shipping to the market and you're having an issue at the port, we do have contacts that we can in the port or in customs that we can help try and resolve the issue. And Mohammed is very good at doing that. We also try to ensure that U.S. products are treated fairly when they come into the market. So this includes getting market access, but also dealing with potential trade issues. Right now we're looking at an issue on high path avian influenza on corn, and so this is something that we're working with the Moroccans to try and resolve. And we also do market intelligence, so briefings like this, but also we have a retail report. We have a hotel restaurant industry report that we put out. We do sort of larger commodity reporting on grain, wheat, and then also commodities like citrus and things like that, all that kind of feed up to USDA's commodity production or estimates. And so those are all things that are available on our website that I hope you can take advantage of as well. All right, so that's FAS, that's the Foreign Agricultural Service. All right, so a little bit about Morocco now. So as you can see, it's the thing I want to talk about is its location, right? You've got it's 14 kilometers to Spain, off the tip of Tangier. It's in North Africa. It's close to Europe. It has huge European influence. It's primarily Muslim Arab country, so a lot of influence from the Middle East and the Gulf. But it's also in North Africa, and it has a lot of connections with West Africa as well. And so I always tell the story, and Mohammed's heard it a lot. It was 3 years ago when the World Cup was going on. The Moroccan team was one of the semifinalists, and the American announcers would talk about it, and they in one sentence they talk about it as an African team. The next sentence they talk about it as a Middle Eastern team, and the next time they would talk about all the players on the Moroccan team that had grown up in Europe. So it's really a crossroads, this cultural crossroads of Europe, Middle East, Africa. And that plays out in trade, and it plays out in economics as well. And we'll talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages that might create. A little bit about some of the economic connections. So Morocco is the only country on the African continent with which the U.S. has a free trade agreement. It was signed in 2004, came into effect in 2006. And at this point, I think pretty much all commodities are have gone down to zero. So, but it also has great trade agreements with the European Union, Turkey, and as well as other African countries. A little bit what's going on right now in Morocco in terms of investments. There's a huge push in infrastructure, so investments in roads. When you come here, you'll see that the highways in particular are in really good shape. You see in this picture here, this is Tangier Med Port. This is a new port. It's now one of the largest, or if not the largest, in Africa. I know Durban, I think, has Tangier and Durban go back and forth, but it's a huge port. Just if you look at this picture up here in the background, the top right picture, those mountains, that's Spain. So that is, so you get a sense of kind of where you are in the world and how close really you are to Europe at this point. High-speed trains. There's a huge investment in high-speed trains. And then there's also a push with the government to connect Morocco to West Africa. And so there's a major investment in a port down in the southern part of the country called Dakhla. And then there's increasing shipping lines between Dakhla, Agadir. Well, Dakhla's not quite done yet, but Agadir, and then it's going to be Dakhla, and then down to West Africa as well as investments in roads. So there's a lot of roads that go through the southern part and are trying to connect to West Africa. So there's a lot of infrastructure activity going on. At the same time, you're seeing a record growth in tourism. Last year, there was 17.4 million visitors. And this is a pretty significant increase from the previous year, and also a significant increase from 2019, so pre-COVID. So this was a record. And so what you have is a lot of investment, a lot of economic activity, a lot of construction going on, and then you have and you have growing number of tourists. And so this is increasing demand for products in Morocco, particularly food products. At the same time, Morocco is a large producer of agricultural products. Agriculture contributes almost, I think, 15% to Morocco's GDP, and it's almost more than 40% of employment in the country. But it's under a lot of stress from drought. You can see here some of the pictures. This is the vegetative index from 2020. This is the vegetative index from 2024. These are some of the wheat fields outside of Marrakesh that were planted, and this was last year. Nothing is growing, and I don't know if it's going to be much different this time. This year, we haven't had a lot of rain in the south. So what you're having is this increasing demand, which is going like this, and you have production that's going like this. And so we think that the difference there is going to have to be filled by imports. And we're already seeing that. So one of the things that is a big issue is the high price of meat here in Morocco. They have sheep meat and beef in particular is very high, and one of the things the government has done is they've dropped tariffs on all imports of beef and red meat, sheep and beef, and so and then also just last week they canceled or they waived the requirement to slaughter a sheep over the Eid al-Adha holiday, which is going to be in June. And so again, typically that's a time where every family slaughters a sheep in honor of the sacrifice that Abraham did. And so but because of the prices of the sheep, because of the ability that they would not be able to rebuild the herd, this is one of the things that they've waived. So again, drought, lack of animal feed, this is all leading into opportunities in terms of imports. All right, U.S. trade with Morocco. So this just has 2013, but honestly, 2024 numbers just came in, and it was right about the same. It was a little bit down. I think it was $607.2 million this year versus $612.43 the year before. Primarily, that was a slight decrease in soybean meal imports. As was mentioned earlier, particularly tree nuts from the West Coast set a record in 2024. They were about $208 million of exports to Morocco. And they actually surpassed soybean meal as becoming the largest export, U.S. export to Morocco, ag export. Some of the other things you can see here: distillers' grains, corn, different animal feeds. But we'll talk more. So it's still primarily kind of a feed market, with the exception of tree nuts. But we'll talk. We're seeing a significant amount of increase in some of the consumer products, still relatively small, but things like beef and dairy and things like that are growing. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. So here are some of the best product. We talked a little bit about beef, the high prices that are here, and really the desire to bring in imports to address that. You've got tree nuts. I just mentioned the $208 million of almond or tree nuts that came in. This is primarily almonds, but we are seeing growth in pistachios and walnuts as well. Mohammed could talk a little bit more about that later. And one of the things you'll see when you come to Morocco is everything is all the sweets and you're given tea and you're given cookies, and the cookies almost always are made out of almond paste. So it's a significant market, and the American West Coast is a huge supplier or is the main supplier of that. Part of that is Spain would be your top competitor, and that has a 40% tariff right now on almonds. And then because of drought, local production is only about 10% of the current market share. Similar to beef, dairy products, you're seeing kind of a stagnation in the local production because of high costs of feed. So there is growth in cheese and yogurts and I guess dried milk powder. And they're also, some of those producers of the cheeses and the yogurts are looking to expand into the West Coast or the western part of Africa. And so that, again, they need to bring in more product in terms of imports to maintain that steady supply. Seafood as well. Alaska Seafood Marketing Institute has been active here, particularly salmon and some others, but the other non-Alaska products such as tuna and things like that have been of interest. One of the things that is so Morocco is a large producer of seafood, particularly sardines. They have a lot of canning capacity, but the sardine catch last year alone declined by about 40%. And so you have a lot of capacity, and and you don't have a lot of product to go through it. And so some of these companies are looking to bring in other products that they can and continue to make sure that they maintain their production. And then also on the flip side, you have the high-end hotel and retail sector, or high-end hotel tourism sector. So that's another source for high-end seafood. All right, a little bit about trade coming into the United States from Morocco. You've got so citrus, sardines again, they're olives, anchovies. I'll just note, if you look at this, there's a drop here in 2023. That was primarily a decrease in citrus production, and that actually rebounded last year, so that would go back up. That chart would go back up. And overall exports were actually about $412 million last year, imports from Morocco. And that rebound is primarily due to a recovering citrus crop. All right, a little bit about the challenges. This is your consumer-oriented goods, and you can see the challenge is competition from Europe in terms of imports. So, and a lot of that has to do with distance. It's 14 kilometers to Spain. Products from Europe come by truck. It doesn't have to come by boat. This means that they can ship small batches of product. Things can within, I don't know, Mohammed, is it 24 hours, 48 hours? Something can be from Paris down to Casablanca. So compared with even the U.S. East Coast is about 2 weeks shipping time. So that's the challenge. The other challenge is because a lot of Morocco was a French protectorate. It was also a Spanish protectorate. There is just sort of a cultural awareness of French and Spanish products that they don't necessarily have for U.S. products. And so that's, again, a little bit of something that we'll talk about, but something to overcome. So recommendations for entering the market. It is a country that values personal connections. It's a business culture that values personal connections. So, coming on this trade mission would be a great first step. You'd meet your importers, meet your buyers. Once you meet them, you want to think about coming back and visiting. Again, personal connections, maintaining that connection with them. Be flexible. Sometimes the example I've always heard is batch sizes. If you go into a Moroccan supermarket, sometimes the tomato paste can might be like this big versus like this big in the U.S. People might want to buy like 1 or 2 pieces of cheese versus like a whole block of cheese. It depends on where you are in the market. Sometimes people, they don't have like a lot of money right away, or they might have a little bit of money to spend and they want to spend it that night versus stocking up, those kind of things. So certain flexibilities, labeling, things like that. You just want to be flexible, be patient. Again, you come on a mission, you meet somebody, follow up with them, even if there's not a sale right away, follow up. Again, the opportunity comes along, the price gets right. You need to be patient, but it can happen. And then also investing in consumer awareness. Again, they're familiar more with European brands. They're familiar with Middle Eastern brands. So particularly if you have a new brand or a new type of product, a new type of sauce, a new, whatever it is, consider working with your importer on some promotions, on some awareness, and explaining how to use that particular product. All right. So with that, I will wrap up. But one thing to mention, 2030 World Cup, Morocco is hosting along with Spain and Portugal. So along with the roads, along with the trains, a lot of stadiums are being built. And I don't think I don't think I quite realized how big of a sort of an event this is in terms of focusing attention on the market. But just one example, they're just passed a rule that all restaurants now have to buy from a licensed slaughterhouse. They can't buy from a wet market anymore. And this explicit reason that they said this was to get ready for the World Cup and all the tourism that's coming. So, so it is an event that's organizing people's government's policy and thinking. So, with that, I'll stop.
Perfect. Well, Ben, thank you so much. Before we open it up for questions, it would be great if you could kind of give us this kind of a snapshot of what the kind of retail sector is like. What is the kind of the traditional retail structure?
Yeah, I'll let Mohammed give the exact percentage, but you've got very high-end retail at the top. It's limited to Casablanca, Rabat, maybe Tangier. These are oftentimes French companies. Carrefour is a big brand. So they're a little bit hard to crack into in terms of purchasing decisions are made elsewhere, put it that way. You have some local brands that are also fairly high end, Marjan, Aswak Salam, some of these other ones. And so they're a little bit easier to work with in terms of American products and the like. Then you have the wholesale market, the traditional wholesale market, and they are going to sell to the sort of mom and pop shops. Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of the I guess the less wealthy classes buy their products, or the corner shops and the like. Sort of like in the US with Aldi and some of these others, there's a company called BIM, and I think there's another one. BIM is a Turkish one, but these are the hard discounters. And they've made a lot of progress in Morocco as well. So I don't know, Mohammed, you got other thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned BIM, because BIM is similar to Aldi in the US. So,
yeah.
I mean, getting back to your question regarding the retail landscape in Morocco, there is a mix. I mean, there is a traditional, we call it souk. You see a lot of, for example, almond or dates. It's in bulk. You can go and buy by kilo and things. These are souk, traditional markets. And also in the big cities, like Ben mentioned, in Casablanca, all the large cities, Casablanca, Rabat, Tangier, Marrakesh, has a lot of retail stores like Marjan and Carrefour, the French brand. So and also there is a majority of small shops, mom and pop shops, which is estimated around 80%. They are big if you look at around the country, beyond these large cities. So I hope this is helpful.
Yeah, you're right. You get out of the city, it's the souk and the mom and pop shop that you're shopping at.
Perfect. Thank you. So if you would like to ask a question, please use your hand icon, and I think we can recognize you and go from there.
All right. Looks like we have our first hand with Tops Parrot Food.
Yeah, hi, this is Gary. I was just curious about the pet food market for imports into the country, and also specifically if you know the companion bird market.
I know pet food is growing. That is, that is a growing sector. Particularly cats. Cats are very popular in Morocco. Dogs are less so, but cats are very, very, very important. Companion birds. Do you have a thought on that, Mohammed?
It's a niche market. We do, but I mean, parrots.
I see them. I see birds. I see parrots. There are pet shop. So it exists. I don't have a sense of the size.
Yeah,
Do you know
but
where
I
we
mean,
might go? Where we might head to learn more about importers of pet food?
You got a thought, Mohammed? I mean,
what was the question? I missed the
importers
question.
of pet food.
Yeah, yeah, we can share the lists of the importers that they import pet food. Yeah.
I can. I'll put my email in the chat, and then if you want to just send us an email, we can do some investigating on that. We'll have to check around and find out for you.
Thank you so much.
All right, on to the next. It looks like Oliver.
Hi, Samantha. Hi, it's Olivier from RPAC. We're an almond supplier. I'm a director of sales for Europe and Middle East and North Africa region. One of the biggest concerns we have, I think, in the almond industry and probably in a lot of the nuts from the West Coast is when we're meeting these counterparties in shows like Gulf Food, our biggest concern when meeting anyone new is that if we can secure deposits and things like that from customers, but when the goods get to the port, what are the rules regarding the importer, and do they have the ability to prevent us from re-exporting it or finding new counterparties? And what could be done to protect the US companies from having goods basically held at blackmail from counterparties who don't want to play ball when the market goes against them or for whatever reason? So what are the solutions you've seen other people do? In India that we do things like non-objection certificates. And actually, the question really goes for Libya and Tunisia as well. And what are the differences between those countries' rules and regulation in that regard?
Hello, Oliver. That is a good question. A lot of times, when there is a stock shipment and U.S. suppliers wants to move the product either to another importer or another origin. So what we advise is, the rules here in Morocco, this is done by the government, is, the importer can put 30% down payment, and the rest is cash versus document. So in order for U.S. exporter to move the product, the importer gets his money back. If you got any proof, you send them the deposit, then you can move the product with no problem.
So we'd have to send the deposit back, but if there's a market difference, we can't use the deposit because let's say the market moves down, we would use the deposit as a way to recuperate the difference in price or something. So we couldn't do that, you're saying?
But Olivier, that's depend on the contract. For example, when you negotiated with the importer the first time, depends on the contract.
Yeah, and Olivier, there's if I may, I think there's a lot of different kind of programs that are available. I know in the tree nut industry, it's not typical, but I know that through XM and SBA, there are kind of financing and loan and guarantee programs in terms of export shipments. So, I mean, it's more of a documentation, letter of credit, and all the stuff that's involved. And so it becomes more complicated in large shipments, but there is some of those kind of protections to receive a percentage of your sale if something goes sideways and something like that. And that's some information we can share with you as well.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. It's just it helps us make decisions on the risk appetite we have for the country and then new counterparties. And I'm sure other tree nut suppliers probably feel similar. Thank you.
Yes, I have to wave my arms again. One thing I noticed that from some of the chat and some of the questions that are coming on, and Ben and Mohammed, if you kind of address, is that my expectation is that Morocco is a growing market. It is rapidly modernizing in a lot of sense, and I think that with the tourism, et cetera, is coming in there. So when we look at, in terms of, I think there was a question in the chat in terms of health, like skincare, body care, et cetera, pet food. This is a growing segment in terms of consumer spending, where there will be increased opportunities in kind of the pet food market, increased opportunities in kind of skincare. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys are seeing kind of growth in some of those, traditional kind of market segments that we have here in the U.S.?
Yeah. So I mean, with pet food, we're seeing growth. I would say. The skincare, again, it's sort of in the higher end segment. I don't know, there are, it's not a foreign concept, because you have things like argan oil, and there's a lot of sort of like products locally geared towards skincare and some of these cosmetic products. So I think it's a question, it's a matter of price, and then also sort of differentiating your product from some of the local things, or why this would be, you know, worth investing in. So, but yeah, you're right. It is a growing market. I'd have to go back, and I should have this off the top of my head, the middle class, but it is a growing middle class, and again, there's a lot of the investments, things like that. This is creating economic activity, and so there is growth in terms of people moving from sort of more simple diets to more complex diets, I guess. But again, we could find, I'll put my email in the chat, particular to the cosmetics and pet food. We can try and find some contacts.
Perfect. Thanks, Ben.
So I just want to add one thing, because Ben, he mentioned the growing middle class. So the latest statistic from the government of Morocco is 53% of population, and 2022. That's the latest one that we have. You know, it's a middle class. It's around 53%.
Awesome. Thank you. Farah, I think you're the next in line here for a question.
Good morning. My name is Farah, and I'm from American Trading International. I'm the account manager for the Levant and North Africa region. And we are so interested, to be honest, in expanding for the Moroccan market. We export US products to around 84 markets in the world. So we want to go for the Moroccan market, but unfortunately we had like an issue. We started with Bragg brand, if you know it, for the organic apple cider vinegar. And the regulation for importing such a thing and the apple cider vinegar, it went against us. So unfortunately we lost this opportunity. I don't know if you could help us in any terms, if we could maybe try to have it on the same sizes they have, because adjusting the sizes, it would be a tough process for the manufacturer, actually. So this is my first question, if we could help for the Bragg especially opportunity. Also, I have a question. If you have interest, you know, the market, the Moroccan market, the interest brands or the interest products, they want to import it from the US to Moroccan market. What it is, so it would help us to expand, because we have a variety of products, of branded products. Also, we work on the private label basis. So if you could give us like a heads up or like an ideas of what brands or products the market needs, so we can move from there. Thank you.
So I guess on the branded products, the stuff I've seen most recently, I'd have to go back and look at the particular brands, but a lot on the snack food sector. The different chips, different energy drinks. What else?
Sauces.
Yeah, sauces are another one. I think that we've seen some requests for branded products. I have to look at the specific brand, but we can, again, we have some some companies that import brands. I think we can try and do some research and find out exactly what brands they're looking for.
No, that would be perfect.
Perfect. And for we just worked with Zircom and doing some market reports for a few companies, and they did some supermarket scans of some products. And so maybe when Richard speaks later today, he can kind of mention some of what they're seeing on the shelves in terms of shelf stable. But I know for like hot sauces and some for other commodities, there are some kind of U.S. brands and some private private label opportunities.
We have all of this. Honestly, to be honest, we want to know the interest of the market, because we are thinking of attending the trade mission in May. So we want to know exactly what's happening there, so we will be prepared for this show.
Perfect. Well, Farah, we'll definitely be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cool. And Laxmi.
Thank you so much for your presentation. My name is Lakshmi. When you talked about the tree nuts, I was just curious whether is it going to be just the wholesale nuts, or do you also do the packaged retail, sweet and spicy, such nuts?
So I would say it's primarily wholesale, right? But there's also so there's a couple
food service.
Yeah. Then there's also the bakery sector, so the processing of the paste and then the baking. There have been a couple companies that have reached out to us about doing their own spices and roasting here. I'm not aware of pre-roasted, like pre-packaged nuts is a huge demand. Do you know, Mohammed? It's primarily they want to bring it in and they want to process it here, kind of thing.
Yes. I mean, mostly is bulk. They prefer bulk. The carton box, as we saw on the souk. So packaged, we have seen only pistachios, California pistachios, wonderful pistachios. They are
wonderful.
Yeah, and one thing for growth, and especially in the almond industry, is that there is no flavoring. So, for example, either roasted, no spices on almonds or something like that. And also there is a growth in terms of almond milk. It's really growing, especially when juice they blend it with fruits. So almond milk, there is not a lot of almond milk in Morocco. So
and I think Lex.
Okay.
Yeah, and also we make these kind of single serve pouches, and these are sauces, and these are very niche products, organic flaxseed, using just flaxseed and some spices. So basically you can put them on toast and sandwiches, even on chicken, fish, just to make it more tastier. So these are single serve. And is there any, market for such products?
When you said single serve, is it for the food service or?
Yes, it's just 1 ounce, 1.16 ounces each.
I was gonna say I haven't. We'd have to check and see what kind of again, if we have the specifics about the product, we could see if there's interest.
Okay, but I would be interested in those retail high-end markets.
But kind of along that line, if you are going to come in with a kind of a pre-packaged product, I think what Mohammed brings up a good point. There's not a lot already in terms of the flavorings, like the wasabi flavoring or the barbecue or whatever, so that is an area that so we don't see it right now, but that is an area I think that there could be growth or interest is in that if most of it is bulk right now, but if you were going to come in on the trying to come in with a retail ready product, then that might be the flavoring. But then that would also involve some of that consumer awareness education.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. James, I think you're next, sir.
Yes, good morning. I'm James Smith with JBR International Trade Group. Regarding the seafood, is it only fresh seafood, or is it a combination of fresh as well as frozen seafood?
I believe it's mostly frozen, right, Mohammed?
It's
I think
frozen,
given
but your question, James, is a seafood from the U.S., right, to Morocco. It's
Yeah,
mostly frozen,
it's frozen.
but there is some importers, like for example, Stellar. You know the company, Ben. So they are looking for high quality fish product, and sometimes the imported fresh. They are looking, for example, king salmon and Alaskan and Dungeness, and they want fresh because they have a customer. But this is just niche. It's a high end product.
That's the very high end, yeah.
Very very high end, exactly.
But most of it from the U.S. is frozen, and so there's an expectation that it's coming frozen.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you, James. Are there any other questions for our FAS team before we turn it over to Zircom, our in-market representative? All right. So, Richard, the floor is yours, sir. Oh, and we may have lost Richard.
Great. Let me just quickly share some where Africa is going very quickly, just over the next little while. Bill, can you hear me?
Yeah, Richard, the connection's
hear
not
me?
very strong right now, unfortunately.
Oh, hang on. Darn it. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but you're not able to.
Okay.
I think it might be better just to speak versus
very
the
good.
presentation.
Well, okay. All right. Let me just stop sharing. And I'll just try to speak. Just quickly to Farad. Morocco is moving into an area where the middle class is growing very quickly. So a lot of your products are going to be latent. You're going to find that there might be a market for them, but it hasn't been explored yet commercially. And so really, this is an exciting time in the African economy. It's really interesting. We're seeing the commercialization of formal grocery stores all across Africa. And Morocco is no exception, although Morocco was one of the leaders. So we're in a very exciting time. I just want to tell you that we do have a very good, dedicated staff right across Africa, ready to assist you. And we're working all across all sectors of agricultural business, and we really want to help you out. Morocco is a leading country in every regard. And just as Ben pointed out, they do have logistics connections into West Africa that they're building on strategically. And this is very important because Morocco is becoming a regional player, and asking companies about whether they are regionalized and being able to export into other regional countries is important, because that can be a force multiplier in your presence there. So I just want to tell you that we're excited about this trade mission coming, and I just want to run through a few points about the trade mission. We're going to be arriving together, and hopefully, if you're coming separately, that's fine, but you'll likely be coming together as a group, and we're going to be having somebody pick you up, and we'll take you to the hotel. Your final packages will be delivered with your itinerary. But before that, you'll see advances in terms of how your itinerary is being developing, and as you get to the airport and as you land, we'll be able to give the final edition. Now, the final edition is never like what is actually going to happen. Because if you've been on one of our WUSATA trade missions before, or if you've been on a government trade mission, you know that something might cancel, something might be postponed, something might happen that you weren't realizing. You might get a big surprise and end up with one excellent meeting that you didn't know about. And we have people behind the scenes to help you out with all of those changes as they happen. So we really want you to feel confident in our hands. Sandra Matty and Sine and Nakdi are going to be leading the trade mission. And so unfortunately, I won't be there. I love Morocco, but this time I won't be able to be attending. But as we start the next day, we're going to be starting with an orientation and then maybe a site visit. We're looking at mixing in some site visits of grocery stores, maybe some food service companies. Given what Ben has said from his presentation, the food service industry is really, really becoming of much more importance to Morocco, given that the tourism industry is growing, the hospitality industry, the restaurant industry, they're all growing very quickly. And so we want to make sure that we're not simply looking at grocery stores, we're not simply looking at food services companies, we're looking at wholesale importers and distributors. So we really want you to find the right partners, and it might be across a different range of sectors. So we're aiming to get good appointments for everybody around the Casablanca, Rabat, metropolitan areas. That's really the core of the meetings, but there are some smaller centers such as Tangier and Marrakesh and Fez and all these places. We want that if we cannot get you to those places, we'll get those people invited to the hotel for a meeting. And then importantly, we believe that, after many years of experience with this, the closer you get to the client, the better it is for your sales. And so we believe in getting you out to the business premises with a driver and one of the trade advisors who will be able to speak English. Keep in mind that Morocco, English might be the third or fourth language of the person that you're speaking to. The younger people often are more likely to speak English, but older people, it's still going to be Arabic and French, maybe Spanish. So we're going to make sure that those people who need it are going to have translators in the vehicle with them. But what's important is that you see the business premises. You visit their managerial team, because if you have a meeting at a hotel, you might get one or two people with you. But if you go to the business premises, you might have tea with 4 or 5 people altogether, and that actually brings you closer to the sale. So we really believe in getting you into the country, getting you to visit the people in their sites, and ensuring that you have a good visual of what Morocco means to you, because that's going to help you make your decision in relation to your business partners. We're really looking forward to that. So we're going to have 3 days of meetings, and we're still planning on how to intersperse those with site visits. Morocco is a beautiful country. Please take the option of visiting something in Morocco that you would really like to do either before or after the trade mission, because it is worth seeing. The more you like a country, the better your sales pitches are. I've got to tell you that. And if you are enjoying your time in Morocco, you're going to have enjoyable conversations with the people, because nobody loves anything better than somebody who's in front of them who loves their country. And so I'd also like to say too, what we've seen in the last 2 days, the US dollar has lost 2%. If the US dollar loses 20% by the time this trade mission comes, you've got a big fighting chance against the Europeans. So let's not look at worry about the high dollar, although if the dollar stays high, we're going to be able to look for the long-term, dig for differentiation and all of that. But we are seeing things happening in a disruptive atmosphere right now that are shifting things around a little bit. Don't be afraid to get out there and travel. Those people that make the action happen are the ones that succeed in the age of disruption. So we're looking forward to seeing you in Morocco. We're excited about the trade mission. We're hoping that we're going to have a great time. And Josh, thank you. We're looking forward to your leadership on the mission. and seeing everybody there. Are there any questions that we have relating to the mission specifically that I might be able to answer next few minutes before we close? Lakshmi, I see your hand is still up. Did you leave it on?
No, we have a correction
No.
question from Farah. Sorry. Or Lakshmi,
I
please go
just
ahead.
want to thank you, Richard, for your information.
Okay.
It's very good to know these things. Actually, I'm an Arab person. I'm Jordanian, so I know how to speak Arabic. So I think it will be good for me to go there. The English language, it will not be an issue for me to communicate, to talk with the people. So we want to expand, and I think this opportunity, it will be a good one on all aspects. Yeah, I will just once we finish this meeting, I will discuss it with the management, and I'm sure we will see you in Morocco this year.
Perfect. Farah, thank you so much. And Richard, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Much. I know by the. Sorry, go ahead, Eddie. Josh.
Sorry. Again, thank you, Richard, so much, and Ben and Mohammed, thank you as well. I mean, I think we're very optimistic about and opportunistic about the opportunities that Morocco has. I mean, specifically, it's a growing market economy. We have a free trade agreement, which is awesome in that sense, and we have that kind of real potential to be on the ground floor in terms of expanding, in terms of new products, et cetera. There's a retail sector, there's a food service sector that is growing consistently, and I think we have programs and services that are available through the federal and regional and state groups to be able to help facilitate some of those challenges. I know that price was mentioned as one of the big kind of obstacles that we have. We do, as the WUSATA region, have access to the Fund Match program, which provides a huge amount of incentives that can help work with importers and distributors to market that product and provide kind of price incentives that make our products more competitive and compared to European products and others. So we do have kind of a support system that can help enable you to kind of move forward. And so I think just kind of summing what Ben had mentioned, to be present, flexible, and patient with this market is critical, but really to be able to be there, meet B2B meetings directly with those importers and distributors, I think is going to be critical in moving the needle and in a growing market economy and where we can be present and make the biggest splash that we can. So everyone, thank you so much for your participation in this. We appreciate it. We'll follow up with some further information in regards to the outbound trade mission that is occurring in May. The registration deadline is March 21st. We'll also provide Ben's email so you can follow up directly, and also kind of a market report that was recently released as well. So everyone, thank you so much for your participation, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you in Morocco. So thank you.
Thank you all.